The presidential race is coming down to the wire, with final polls by the New York Times and Siena College showing Vice President Kamala Harris gaining momentum in North Carolina and Georgia, while former President Donald J. Trump closes in on her in Pennsylvania and leads in Arizona. It's one of the closest races in decades across multiple battleground states, making the outcome highly unpredictable as Election Day nears. Ms. Harris has a narrow edge in Nevada, North Carolina, and Wisconsin, according to the polls, while Mr. Trump holds a lead in Arizona. They're nearly tied in Michigan, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, with all 7 states showing results within the margin of error, underscoring just how tight the race remains. While the overall poll standings are similar to earlier Times/Siena surveys, subtle shifts suggest both candidates still have multiple ways to reach the 270 Electoral College votes needed for victory. In such a close contest, even a slight polling error could shift the results significantly. One sign of a late shift in Ms. Harris's favor is her strength among recent deciders, winning that group by 55% to 44%. With Election Day approaching, 11% of voters remain undecided or persuadable, down from 16% a month ago. Meanwhile, over 70 million people have already voted, with Ms. Harris leading among early voters by 8 points, though Mr. Trump leads among those who are yet to cast ballots. In Pennsylvania, Mr. Trump has erased Ms. Harris's previous 4-point lead, bringing the 2 candidates into a dead heat. This comes as both campaigns view Pennsylvania as a critical state that could determine the outcome of the election. The high stakes have led to increased scrutiny of each candidate's record and rhetoric, shaping decisions for undecided voters. One such voter, William Renfro of Las Vegas, describes himself as a fiscally conservative, socially liberal libertarian. He recently decided to support Ms. Harris, citing Mr. Trump's recent association with far-right figures and inflammatory comments as decisive factors. "Why do I want this person to lead the country that I live in?" he reflected. North Carolina is another state with a large early voting turnout, where more than half of voters have already cast ballots. Ms. Harris leads among early voters there, likely contributing to her slight lead in that state, where the impact of Hurricane Helene has not prevented over 90% of residents from voting as planned. The only state where Mr. Trump leads among early voters is Arizona, where he is ahead by 50% to 46%. Polling suggests that Arizona voters are focused on immigration, with Mr. Trump's stance giving him an edge. The economy remains the top issue for voters overall, though in Wisconsin and other battlegrounds, abortion is nearly as important for voters. Dakota Parrish, an insurance professional in Arizona, said his support for Mr. Trump is rooted in his perception that life was better economically during Mr. Trump's previous term. "People could afford more, could live a happier life," he explained. In the Senate races, Democrats are defending narrow leads in blue wall states. Pennsylvania Senator Bob Casey's lead has dropped from 9 points in September to 5, while Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin holds a diminished 4-point advantage. In Michigan, a close race for the open Senate seat has Democratic Representative Alyssa Slotkin in a tight contest with Republican Mike Rogers. Democratic candidates in Arizona and Nevada are holding larger leads, with Ruben Gallego and Jackie Rosen ahead in their respective races. These Senate contests could be pivotal for control of Congress, where Democrats currently hold a slim 51-seat majority. The outcomes in Montana, Ohio, and West Virginia will also be crucial, with Republican gains likely in West Virginia due to the retirement of Joe Manchin. One Phoenix voter, Mikola von Furstenrecht, represents a split-ticket trend in Arizona, voting for Mr. Trump and Democrat Ruben Gallego for Senate. She said her choice reflects her military family's values, trusting Gallego more than Republican candidate Kari Lake. The race for governor in North Carolina also favors Democrats, with candidate Josh Stein holding a comfortable lead over Republican Mark Robinson, who has made offensive comments in the past. The large gender gap in favor of Ms. Harris is mirrored in the Senate and gubernatorial races, where abortion is often a deciding issue among women. In Nevada and Arizona, amendments to enshrine abortion rights in state constitutions are supported by majorities of voters. This issue has gained traction nationwide since the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, and while most conservative states have not exceeded 60% support for such measures, they have passed in every state where they've been proposed. Linda Guggia, a Nevada real estate agent, plans to vote for Mr. Trump, citing the economy as her top concern, but she also supports the abortion rights amendment. "It's not a main focal point in my family," she said, but she respects the rights of others. With 2 days until the election, both campaigns are intensifying efforts in battleground states to mobilize their bases. The race remains razor-close, and any last-minute shifts could prove decisive in what promises to be one of the most fiercely contested elections in